What is going on, guys? Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Hope you're having a wonderful start to the day. We are kicking this episode off in a couple of minutes and going live across all of the socials with another episode of the podcast. So if you're coming into this one live, guys, you know the drill. Get down into the comments there. Let us know that you're here, and we're going to be starting this one up in just 2 minutes. All right, here we are. We are ready to rock and roll, guys. Good morning. Knock, knock, knock. Good morning. How are we? I hope you're having a lovely start or end to your day or anything in between. I am super pumped to be back again. Hello, Tez. Tez, I I just managed to get up in time to be able to beat you to the gym session in the morning, mate. Guys, so good, so good. Hello, Maxi boy, Stevie boy, what's happening, legends? Steve, mate, come on. The people want a podcast from Mr. Hopley. I've been asking for a year and a half, dude. Let's go. Hey, Kimbo, have you had any sleep? I had beautiful sleep, Kim. I went from 2 o'clock till about 8:30 and then went to the gym and slashing into some work. Good morning, Ash, beautiful girl. I hope you're having a great time, guys. And team, we are starting this one up in 1 minute. We're going to be talking about some training holiday strategies. No wonder, no worries. I think a few of you will be in the gym now doing your thing, getting the morning started the right way. If you do watch this on replay, guys, you know what to do. Get in the hashtags and let me know that you're replaying this episode. And by the way, if you don't already know this, you can download some or listen to some 360 odd episodes of the podcast on the podcast players. All you need to do is just go to any of your favorite podcast players, whichever one you like to listen to the most, be it Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google, and there's literally 360 episodes here. I'd like to think that they've got better over time. And hopefully they have. Good morning, Levi. How are you, brother? Lovely to have you back in here as well. You were looking tired there on the call there last night, mate. But no doubt, we're all burning the candle a little bit from both ends, aren't we, as we come into this Christmas period? But that's life. That's love. Hey, Jack, what's going on, girlfriend? Excellent. Great to hear. Yeah, you got it, Kimmy. I hope you're good. Guys, we're going to kick this off in 30 seconds. And we're going to be talking about why more is not better necessarily when it comes to training. By the way, Jack, I just want to acknowledge this. I got your email and you're an awesome human. I'm just not in an urgent manner needing to reply to it. Okay. Trying to do all the important shit. I love you. That's it. That's all you need to know. Okay. I think we are ready to rock and roll, guys. Let's do this. I'm going to bring in the Instagram crowd. So we are leveraging our time the best. All right, let's do this. If you got any questions and you want to come back and we'll answer them at the end, more than happy to do so. But let's get stuck into it on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast. This is the podcast that you come to when you are sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. And I want to thank all of you clients and people who have just come across our work, who joined us. We had over 100 people on the workshop last night where we talked about exactly what we're going to talk about here. But in a little bit more detail, I want to go deeper on the training. So in the workshop, we talked about an approach to Christmas so you don't get to the other end of it and feel guilty and having put on a bunch of weight. I really do hope that you got some value out of it. It was so lovely for me. It was at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and seeing all you guys turn up and get involved in it. It was a great show of our community, and I certainly cannot wait to do our awards call in 2 weeks' time where we do exactly the same thing. Let's get into today's episode. We're going to be talking about a philosophy that more is not better when it comes to training. And that's particularly important when we're talking about the holiday season. Okay. Firstly, I want to say we're in December. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I really understand what it's like now as you get older, how the years and time just passes quicker and quicker and quicker. For a lot of people, it's like, oh man, it's a drag. Fuck, man. I just feel like Ever since the last decade where I've been doing what I love doing every day, it just feels like time just passes in no speed at all. And we're back at the end of another year where we're reflecting on how we did this year and making some goals going forward into the new year. And really the tone that I want to bring to this is that more is not always better. When you're a young fella or a young woman and you're in your 20s, your hormones are raging. You have fuck all responsibility compared to what you have now. You don't have to worry about finances. You can survive on a can of baked beans and you're good to go. But when you get to 30, 40, 50 and beyond, you have responsibilities. And one of the things that I've had to learn to do in my own personal life is understand that you cannot pour from an empty cup. There has to be equal amounts of pushing and recharging, or as I call it, you got to have both compassion and discipline. Okay. I've burned the candle very, very hard this week. This weekend, I'm not going to go and flog myself, right? I'm not going to drink 20 beers and have no sleep because I know that that's just going to kill me. So what I'm trying to do is communicate that more is not better. Okay. Sometimes doing less actually gets you better results. And in training, and especially during the holiday season, that is the case. Let's talk about the problem with why more is the thinking around why more is better. What are the common mistakes? If you have I've got to train 5 days a week mentality, it leads to overtraining and burnout. Because the reality is you might have some clear space at the moment, or maybe early in January where you feel I can be really, really consistent I can get there, 4 days a week, 2 times a day, whatever it is for you. But that standard that you're setting yourself, it's just not manageable over a consistent basis. So what ends up happening is, number one, it leads to overtraining and burnout. And number two, it leads more importantly to you setting unrealistic expectations, which end up in you quitting. You guys know that story very, very well. Unrealistic expectations, reality doesn't meet expectation, you quit and give up. What's allowed me to build a body, a mindset, a business, a relationship, and a fucking life that I absolutely love is not intensity all the time. It's consistency over a long period of time. So many people, when they just need to get this weight off and they're just so desperate, they're coming at it at a very short-term perspective because they're in pain. They want to get rid of the pain. But I guarantee you, if you can take a longer term perspective on this, you don't need to train 7 days a week to get the results you want to get to. You do not need that. It's just going to lead to you burning out quicker and falling off your journey. This is especially true if you've got some things going on in your life, right? For example, Jackie, you're on the podcast listening now. What you're dealing with your mum, that's a really difficult thing to have to go through. The key is to stay in momentum and set realistic expectations. And then when you can't meet, 5-6 days a week, it doesn't matter. You're not meant to be because you haven't set that expectation. The other part to overtraining is that it leads to an increased risk of injury. Do you know the number one cause of injury is tiredness, undersleeping? I want you to think about why that might be the case. When you're underslept and you're tired, and then you go in the gym and you try to push yourself, what ends up happening is your form gets sloppy. So you go in and try to do your heavy ass deadlift, and at the same time, you injure yourself because you're tired, your thinking's not as sharp. Do you guys resonate with this? The sessions that you got to haul ass should not be the sessions where you're trying to do PBs. Now, think about all the additional stress that is added by the holiday season. I fucking love Christmas. I love the holidays. But at the same account, there's the drawing to an end of the year that, like, we've got to get tasks finished. You might be hosting Christmas events or going to Christmas events. It might be that the kids are off school and you know that you're going to have 6 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever it is for you of the kids and minding them all of the time. So you're going to have this increased level of stress. So you've got to be realistic in your approach. Let's talk about the case for a more minimalist approach. So what would be the benefits of stepping back? Well, firstly, if we're focusing on quality in our sessions over quantity of sessions, you're going to get more done, more productivity in half the time. If you can just do 2 gym sessions a week, maybe 3 gym sessions a week, and for the 45 to 60 minutes that you're there, you focus on actually contracting the muscle, keeping good form, having perfect form, and gradually adding weight. The nice bit about doing this at this time of year is you're probably going to have more calories in your system because, as we discussed on last night's workshop, you're going to be reverse dieting back out your calories a little bit. So you're probably going to have more calories in your system. So you're going to feel stronger. This is a great time to make your workouts all about quality, not quantity. Spending the time with your family, amazing. And then when you do go into the gym or you do your home sessions, focus on 1 hour, 45 minutes, whatever it is, of quality lifting, quality contraction, and watch the change to your training. If you take this minimalist approach where it's quality over quantity, here's what's going to happen. You're going to find it easier to stay consistent. That's the first part. It's going to be easier to stay consistent, which means that you're going to end up being able to stay on track over a longer period of time and then come out the other end of school holidays feeling recharged. It's going to align with your busy holiday schedule. Like we said, you got people pulling you each way like this, like I do. Guess what? It doesn't matter. You're training 2 or 3 days a week. And the great thing is that by the end of, say, January, you're going to, rather than feeling deplete, you're going to feel recovered and recharged because you've deloaded your body. So what type of training split could you do? What would work? Well, I would think that a really great working training split would be a 2 to 3 day full body gym program where you go in and you do 6 to 8 exercises. They take you, 45 to 60 minutes. You're in, you're out, you don't fuck around, you contract your muscles, you lift decently heavy, you've got more calories in your system. So you take advantage of that by working on your strength for the next month or 2. Does this make sense, guys? Rather than just hauling your ass there 5 days a week, instead, we want to just keep it simple. Go in, big compound movements. If you're in Better Body Academy, you should be working according to one of our programs. So let's talk about an alternative. An alternative for working out at home might be almost the exact opposite. It might be that what I'm going to do is resistance bands training, but rather than big long ass sessions, I'm going to chop it down to 6 15-minute sessions. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday for 15 minutes. This is a great minimalist strategy. Let me ask you a question, honestly. You guys that are drifting off here in the podcast, ask you honestly, can you commit to 15 minutes 6 days a week, maybe after you've had your morning coffee? If the answer is I don't have any time, well, the retort would be get up 15 minutes earlier, have a shower, have your coffee, and block it into that 15 minutes. 15 minutes of resistance training using bands or dumbbells, that is all you need to do to keep muscle around and your metabolism strong, as long as your protein intake is high enough. Does this make sense, guys? So we're going to prioritize either more days, short, sharp workouts, or 2 to 3 bigger days with full body compound lifts. Does that make sense? Now, what else should you do with this? Well, I would personally recommend prioritizing walking. The reason I would be prioritizing walking is it is so low intensity, high recovery for the body. It's the perfect pairing to a slight increase in your calories and a resistance training program like we've discussed here. It's the perfect pairing. The great thing about focusing on walking is what? When you're walking, you're not sitting on a couch eating and drinking. When you're walking, even if it's pushing the pram, great. You're not eating and drinking. So you get that double whammy of actually getting the exercise, but not feeling sloppy. We talked about in this workshop last night. A really great mindset is eat, walk, eat, walk, eat, walk. So every time you have a big meal, 10, 15 minutes after the big meal, go for a 20-minute walk. Especially to you guys in Australia that have beautiful sunlight at the moment, get outside and go for a walk. That cadence of eat, walk is perfect for managing your weight over this period of time. The final point that I want to raise on this topic, guys, before we close out the podcast is just avoiding the all or nothing mindset during this time. We've talked about how it's just overwhelming a lot of people for Christmas. For a lot of people, Christmas triggers a lot of negative emotions. For a lot of people, it's a really tough time with their family or their lack of family. So you've got to look at yourself and your own personal circumstances and take a more self-aware approach into this season. If you find yourself just like falling off track every year, it's because you're getting totally out of momentum, you're setting unrealistic expectations, and you've got an all or nothing mindset. So this year, make it different. Make your approach more realistic. I'm going to commit to X workouts per week. I'm going to have a couple of non-negotiables. These non-negotiables might be something like I'm going to return to the gym on the 10th of January, or I'm going to make sure that every day I will not do anything less than 8,000 steps. If you took a moment today to actually plan that out, it'll take literally 10 minutes. It's going to give you the platform for exiting Christmas and the festive season without feeling guilty. And your mindset might just be, hey, I only put on 2 kilograms. If you know what you're doing when it comes to nutrition and certainly our system in Better Body Academy, if you put on 2 kilograms, 3 kilograms over Christmas, who gives an actual fuck? Because you can get that off in no time as soon as the festive season passes. Let's focus on loving and enjoying our life as opposed to trying to sterilize it, because in 20 years' time, you're not going to remember the calorie targets that you hit in 2024 New Year's and Christmas. You're going to remember the memories you created. Just don't go and sabotage yourself by, getting completely drunk rat shit and actually waking up feeling horrible. Like you don't feel good as a consequence of that. Okay, team, we're going to leave it there. This has been the Better Body Academy podcast, coming to you for another episode. I hope you found this one helpful. And even if it's just a reminder, and by the way, if you like what you're hearing on the podcast, it would mean the world to me. And I really, really honestly mean this. It helps get the podcast out to more and more people. You go to any podcast player. I prefer Apple if you've got a choice there, and leave us a rating and a comment. It makes the podcast grow more than you know. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Okay, team, we are done and dusted. Hopefully it's helpful. Sticking around for questions. And for those of you that have sent me a message asking whether the replay is ready and available from last night, yes, it is. I just wanted to get this podcast episode, and quite literally, I'm going to press post now. Post now. So the replay is on both of our client Facebook groups. It'll process for the next 2 minutes, and then I'll pin it to the top of the group so you can watch the replay if you weren't able to come and attend last night. Any comments or questions coming off the back of the podcast? Jace, you're like a magical unicorn. Thanks, Jen. I appreciate that, mate. To you guys on Instagram that are wondering where the comments are, this is in our client group. So if you've got any questions, we can ask. What a great call last night. It was Kim. And wait until you see, Kim, the awards call in a couple of weeks. It's actually like, it'll be way more fun. It'll be way more fun. We're not going to talk about calories and nutrition and shit. We're going to talk about who's dominating and how good our community is and the like. Okay, team, thanks for coming in today. I hope you've had a beautiful morning. We love you guys, and we will see you in the next episode. Peace.